Oh, hi there. I'm in New York City. I'm actually en route to Geneva, where Rebel News will be covering the World Health Organization treaty. The cheapest way to get there was through New York, but also while we're here, why don't we do a show about the prosecution in this building over there? There's so many courts in lower Manhattan. Donald Trump used to frequent these courts as a litigant. There's fewer professions that are more litigious than being a property developer in Manhattan. Donald Trump is back in these courts as a defendant. He's being prosecuted in baldly political sham trials that, win or lose, they damage him politically. Or so the theory goes. Because the last poll I saw shows Trump leading by a significant amount in all the battleground states. Over the course of the next half hour, we'll show you a little bit of the press that's gathered here and also grassroots New Yorkers of every stripe, wacky, sober, Republican, Democrat, just a little taste in New York City. But I want to say one more thing. The prosecution of Donald Trump is the banana republicification, if I can make up a word, of the U.S. judicial system, which is terrifying and terrible. It's almost to the point where, in certain jurisdictions, blue states, where you have a heavily Democrat jury, for example, a Republican might not be able to get any justice. Now, that's a terrible thing when people lose respect for the justice system. And in this case, I think that's at the hands of prosecutors and judges who have decided it is morally more important to stop Trump than to follow the law. I used to think that this is a particularly American phenomenon, and luckily we don't have that in Canada yet. I mean, Pierre Poilievre hasn't been prosecuted by Justin Trudeau. Even Maxime Bernier, he was prosecuted for a COVID ticket by the province of Manitoba. But if I'm not mistaken, it was withdrawn. I could be wrong on my memory on that, but and that was an abusive ticket, no doubt about it. But it was in no way comparable to the total lawfare warfare here in New York. But then I thought, hang on, that's not quite right. Because although Pierre Poilievre or Maxime Bernier or Danielle Smith or Jason Kenney or any other conservative leaders themselves have not been put through the grinder, perhaps it's because they're all rather mild compared to the real political actors in Canada over the last 5 years, namely freedom-oriented individual citizens, the truckers in particular, and those who came out to support the truckers. Because what is the trial of Tamara Lich other than lawfare, the weaponization of the courts? For inciting mischief, she was jailed for 49 days, and her trial itself is close to a year. Were it not for our crowdfunding efforts, there's no way she could afford the significant six-figure legal fees. Same thing with Arthur Pawlowski. Same thing for the Coots defendants. Same thing for the 3,000 ordinary people that the Democracy Fund has crowdfunded their legals for. So here in America, their lawfare targets the spectacular. Donald Trump, former president, billionaire, TV celebrity, household name. But in Canada, lawfare targets the little people, people who dare to keep their restaurant open during the lockdowns, like Adam Skelly and his smoked meat restaurant in Toronto, or Without Papers Pizza in Calgary, or restaurants across the country, churches across the country. In Canada, we have politicized lawfare too. We just pick on the little guy. Anyways, that's my preamble. Let's see what we have to see here in New York. So, what do you think of this? It's quite a spectacle. There's got to be 100 reporters over there.
Yes, I'm excited to see them. I know them all.
Really? I saw Judge Janine there, I think.
That's who I'm going to see.
Well, she's here. And how about yourself?
I'm just following my wife.
Well, that's good advice. That's always good advice. So what do you think about the trial?
I think it's a total sham. I think it never should have been brought. This is a state attorney, and he's charging a federal crime. He has no business. This is out of his wheelhouse. He has no right to bring this case at all.
Now, let me ask you this. If he's convicted, Will that do more damage to Trump's reputation or the court's reputation?
Definitely the courts. It's already ruined. I mean, they're laughing at us everywhere in the world. They're saying, "What's going on? This isn't America. This isn't what we respect and know. This is ridiculous. It's a circus."
So why are you here wearing so much Trump merchandise?
I'm here to show support. I wear this to show my love to this country, and Trump loved this country. That's why we wear this Trump gear to support him.
And I see you're here with some friends. Are you guys sisters or are you just friends?
We were strangers before, but the love of this country, the support to Trump, brought us together.
Can I ask where you're from originally?
Original from China. All of us from China because we run from communists. And we see this country is going down to communism. That's why we stand up, we take action, okay?
When you say communist, you know what communist is? Communist is a dictatorship. First of all, they said Martin Luther King was a communist. All right, so I know you. Communist is dictatorship. This country is not communist.
What is that?
Well, when he become president, that's what he's talking about.
Sham trial makes it look like a communist political persecution. That's
Why
why.
all the immigrants come to this country? Because it's a free democracy. Right.
We came here legally, okay? Legally. We encourage illegal immigration.
Right, legal immigration. But
A country without border, not a country, okay?
so why you didn't go back to your country then? Why you come in?
I came here legally. I pursue a degree. I have a formal job, you know? Yeah, I'm a decent American citizen. I love this country.
Why would you turn against this country and say communist?
No, this country is going to communism. That's what we are worried. We worry it's going to be communist.
How do you know that? What do you got a crystal
This
ball?
sham trial. This political persecution.
Oh, it's a sham trial? Oh, it's a witch hunt, right?
Witch hunt, of course.
Yeah. Oh, if it walks like a duck, and it sounds like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it got to be Donald Trump. Yeah.
Joe Biden,
Well, you're very passionate. And so is he.
because I love this country.
Oh, hi, Ezra Levant here. As you know, I was in New York. That's where I was flying overnight to Geneva. As you can see, I haven't even had a chance to change yet, sort of exhausted from the night flight. But just as I was taking off, I heard the news that Donald Trump was convicted on all counts. Absolutely staggering. I think that great damage has been done to the United States, their reputation for law and order and rule of law and checks and balances. This looks like a banana republic move. I am afraid they are going to sentence Trump to prison. They really are going full Vladimir Putin. I hate to say it. If this were being done by Vladimir Putin, we would criticize them. It's happening in America. Anyways, I just wanted to give you that update because when I was filming in New York and finished up there, the verdict had not yet come down. All right, back to the report. But hey, I just want to let you know, I am in Geneva now. We're covering the World Pandemic Treaty. And if you want to see my journalism from this mission, go to nopandemictreaty.com. All right, back to the Trump story. Now I'm going to go out on a limb. Brooklyn native, Jewish, went to a hippie chicken farm commune in Northern California, back here at the Trump rally. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I don't want to stereotype you, but I'm going to guess you're not a Trump supporter.
No, I'm not.
I nailed it.
Good guess. Good guess.
But let me
By
ask.
the way, I'm also a graduate of UC Berkeley during
Well, there you have it.
during the anti-war and free speech movement days.
Well, let me pick up on that.
I have a resume. I have.
You got your credentials.
Yeah.
Let me pick up on that. I myself am a member of the tribe, and I come from a less hippie background, but we have something in common: our love for freedom of speech. So I want to ask you this: are you worried about cancel culture, about prosecuting people more and more for having incorrect views, about people losing their jobs over it, about wokeism silencing dissent?
I have concerns. I'm not sure I would say it exactly that way. What troubles me is that what's been happening is that people are no longer talking to each other. They're locked in, they're polarized. And one person has their set of facts and opinions, another person has their set of facts and opinions, and there's no middle ground. I'm a very strong believer in the middle ground.
Do you engage with people on the other side of the fence?
I try to engage with these people here, and this woman just said, or I tried to engage with this guy who's carrying the "Don't Tread on Me" sign.
That guy's a little bit edgy.
You know, whatever. You know, he doesn't seem that edgy, but he basically said, your mind is made up. You're not willing to think about what I'm saying. I said, I'd like to know what you think. He said, no, you're not listening to me.
Well, let me put something to you, and I'd love your reaction, and we can have that back and forth across the aisle. I have a thesis that the more Donald Trump is prosecuted in what a lot of people think are politicized lawfare, where the courts are weaponized, where disagreements are turned into criminal disputes, the more people see Trump as a victim. And if you look at the latest polls, he's actually going up. And I put it to you that it looks like he's being treated by a banana republic. That's how it looks as a foreigner to me. What do you say to that?
I think, unfortunately, there could be a backlash. And that to some people, it does look like it's a banana republic and he's being unfairly prosecuted. I don't think he's being unfairly prosecuted.
Have any Democrats like Hillary Clinton been prosecuted in the same manner?
Well, there was certainly attempts to prosecute Hillary Clinton. I can't say that there was enough evidence to prosecute her, but there were certainly attempts to, including when Robert Mueller spoke out just before the election and made statements that seemed to incriminate her. So she's not been prosecuted. There's an attempt to prosecute Biden's son right now. So
A lot of evidence there, too.
right, exactly. And, you know, I happen to be a lawyer, but, you know, so I don't know enough about the facts of those cases. I just haven't followed them. There was an attempt to, you know, there was an impeachment of Bill Clinton. So both sides have engaged in this kind of warfare when they've had the opportunity to do it. They're both equally, you know, culpable of engaging in that kind of activity.
What's interesting to me is despite all these prosecutions, Trump is ahead in the polls. How do you explain that?
I think people see it for what it is. people don't like unfairness. We see what's going on. People are not stupid.
Last question, and by the way, thanks for stopping to talk with me. I mean, we're from Canada, by the way, and we look to America. We're from Toronto. Okay. We look to America as leaders in democracy and freedom. I think a lot of the world does. Are you worried that by the president's chief opponent being put on trial in such a persistent manner, smacks of lawfare? Do you think this undermines America's standing in the world as a leader for freedom and democracy and rule of law?
Yes, I think the damage has already been done. I think that's happening right now. And I'm hoping that we elect President Trump and we get some honest people in the DOJ. And, you know, these are all prosecutors who are appointed by a very, very liberal billionaire, George Soros.
We're in a very, very liberal part of the world. Manhattan, without checking, I'd guess it went 85% Democrat in the last election. Is the needle moving at all, or is everyone set in their views on Trump and Biden?
Needle's moving, baby. We're going to turn New York red.